Alright, hey everyone again, this is Dave. I just wanted to give an update on my part 2 of the Medaka setup project. These are my outdoor ponds, and I'm going to go through each one and just kind of say what I got. Alright, so the first one we have is a blue barrel. This one doesn't have any soil at the bottom of it, so I just have a couple water hyacinths on top that just kind of do some filtering with their roots. But in this one it's going to be hard to see the Medaka only because of the glare, and they're mostly black. But there are some in there, trust me. That's the blue one. And then the first tub we have, which I believe is I want to say it's 15 gallons. It's quite dense, but I do have a mixture of orange and black and wild types in here. All these black bins that I have out here all have dirt and soil at the bottom, so that all these plants can have something to root onto and continue to grow. I kind of like the vegetation to get dense only because it mimics what they would have in their natural habitat, and I'm sure it makes them feel a little bit more secure since they have more spots to hide whenever someone comes around. The only downfall to that is you really can't get a good count on how many you have. You just kind of have to stand out here and just look around, but there's quite a few. I'd probably say there's more than 50 each tub. It's just they're always hiding if I come around, but hopefully we can get some on the camera. There's a black one down there. As far as feeding them, I kind of let them do their own thing out here. They definitely pick off all the mosquitoes. We haven't had mosquitoes in quite a while, so that's pretty nice. I'll throw some algae pellets in here every once in a while to make sure that they are eating something, but I check on them and their size, and they all look pretty plump and happy, so I'm not too worried about it. They also graze on the algae. As long as the sunlight can get to it, you know, they do pretty good. This one should be a little bit easier to see since it's in the light, but we've got a couple in there. Growing them outdoor or breeding them outdoors is definitely the preferred way. They much prefer the sunlight over being inside with artificial light or no light. They just seem so much happier out here, and their swim patterns are so much more natural, and everything about them just so much better. So if you're gonna do Medaka and you have a choice or the room, I would definitely suggest doing it outdoors and giving them a couple plants. They seem to thrive in that. As far as taking care of the ponds that they're in, I really don't do much other than I just recently topped off the water, but all the plants in here will keep the pond clean enough to where they do good enough. The water doesn't get that dirty at all. The first couple weeks we started, though, it was definitely it looked like tea for weeks and weeks and weeks, but it started to clear up the more we filled it up. As far as the plants that I have out here, it's mostly water hyacinths. There's a mixture of different pond and aquatic plants, but for the most part it's water hyacinths. We do have different floaters too. Of course, duckweed, it's everywhere, can't get rid of it. But that's the first couple of tubs. This one's definitely the more populated one. Looks like I have a mixture of different oranges and golds and red caps, and a couple dark ones in there too. They're all about the juvenile fry stage, so they shouldn't have any large adults. The biggest you'd probably get is, and there's a platinum in here that's kind of large, but he's not ginormous. Let's see if I can find him real quick. Well, I guess over there is, like, you can see some of that orange one is probably the largest one that we'd get. I would probably call him a young adult. That's pretty large. So this is one tub I should probably consider picking apart. Oh, there's the platinum. So that's definitely a larger one. But these are that's about the age you want them to get before you start separating them, because they'll start producing eggs pretty quick, which is fine, especially if it's dense like this, because the babies have a chance to survive a little more without their parents eating them off. But we have a couple more ponds I'll show you. So this one's also in the dark, so you can't see too much, but there's a little guy right there. And I'd pull it apart for you, but all the roots are down in the soil, so it'd mix it up quite a bit. As far as the temperature goes, I always make sure I have a large umbrella that keeps a constant shade cycling around all of them. Some of these will get sunlight on them at full times, but I make sure that's not in the sunlight the entire time or they'll get cooked. These Medaka can handle high and crazy temperatures, but you don't want to put them in the sun all summer. They definitely prefer the cooler water. Oh, there's one kind of picking off a little fly right there, so that's pretty cool. We got to see that. Oh, there he goes. That's another thing, you know, keeping them out here, you really don't have to worry about feeding them too much, just because they're naturally just always looking at the top surface for something to pick around. We got another tub over here, which is mostly water hyacinths again, and you can kind of see little guys swimming in there. A lot of these colors, you know, it takes about 7 months to a year for them to fill in, and then you really start to notice their colors. So all these kind of look like a orangish or, you know, slightly dull colors, but as soon as they grow in, they start looking pretty crazy. Then you can start breeding different ones to get different colors. But as far as how long I'd keep them out here is, I'm probably going to go all the way until the end of October. It'll start to cool down, and then I'm probably going to go with what the plants tell me. As soon as the plants start getting a little sad and dying down, that'll give me the signal to start bringing these guys in. I'll probably cut 70% of the plants down and just keep them in more of a hibernation stage in the garage until it gets warmer again. And I'll probably end up separating them as I get them in there. But this is pretty much the setup I got now, which is, you know, really cheap and easy. All you got to do is get these tubs from Home Depot, and you fill the dirt to about right there, and the rest with water, and give it a couple months, throw some plants in there, and they take off, especially in the summer light. It was kind of an experiment, but I would call it a very successful experiment, since everything's thriving and all my fish are still here 7 months later. So that's pretty much what I got. I do have a couple other barrels that are over here that I have a couple goldfish, and there's Medaka mixed in also, but this is pretty much where I'm keeping my goldfish at. They live in here, and whenever I have too many water hyacinths, I'll throw them in here too. It's just, I think, I want to say 30-gallon tub, maybe larger, I don't know. And then I have this barrel, which was a complete accident. I was just throwing pond plants in here because I was afraid that some of the pond plants had Medaka eggs in them, and I didn't want to destroy any of those. So I threw them in here in the chance that they might hatch, and I'm really glad I did, because there are a ton of little tiny Medaka in here. So this will be another one that I'll have to go through and see what I actually got. But there's no dirt in this one. This is just a barrel with a bunch of floaters on it, so you really don't need anything fancy. In total, I probably spent, well, the tubs were definitely the most expensive thing that I spent, but for this whole setup, maybe $150, and that's going to a main store and buying like whatever was on the shelf. I wasn't trying to budget it at all. I was just trying to get it set up. So you can probably actually do it for, you know, under $100. And if you find things that you can just set up and put in your yard and fill up with water, that pretty much works. You don't need much for these fish. They don't need fancy filters or heaters or special food or anything. They just love to survive by themselves out here. So yeah, that's pretty much my outdoor setup. This is another setup that will change over time, and honestly in the next month I'll probably have it completely different again. So but yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what the outdoor setup looks like. Sorry if you can't see too many fish in here. It's really difficult to see them in all this dense plants, but yeah, that's pretty much my setup. Thanks for watching.